Canada does not have a diversity problem. It has a cohesion problem. For the better part of a decade, the country was governed by an approach to identity that elevated difference, symbolism, and managed inclusion, while treating any serious discussion of common culture with suspicion. Under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Canada increasingly spoke of itself less as a nation with a shared inheritance and more as a platform for competing identities, grievances, and moral claims. The effect was not unity, but drift. It weakened the language of citizenship and made the idea of a common national story seem faintly improper. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has adopted a more sober vocabulary. Ottawa now speaks of sovereignty, economic resilience, and national unity. That is an improvement, and a necessary one. But rhetoric alone will not repair what years of fragmentation have eroded. A country cannot be held together by branding exercises, nor by official affirmations of diversity detached from any deeper sense of belonging. If Canada is to recover cohesion, it must recover the idea that it is a nation, not merely an administration. This is where conservatives should be unafraid to speak plainly. The answer is not ethnic nationalism, nor is it nostalgia for a country that no longer exists. Canada in 2026 is irreversibly plural, urban, regionally fractured, and shaped by immigration on a scale that has transformed its demographics. Statistics Canada reports that immigrants made up 23% of the population in the 2021 census, and immigration remains a major force in population and labor force growth, even as overall population growth has recently slowed. That reality does not weaken the case for a common culture. It strengthens it. A diverse democracy cannot survive on procedural tolerance alone. It requires a civic framework strong enough to bind people from diverse backgrounds into a common political life. That means more than saying everyone belongs. It means being clear about what they are being asked to belong to. A country must have a recognizable public culture, a constitutional inheritance, institutions worthy of trust, and a citizenry that understands membership as involving obligations as well as rights. This is the case for civic nationalism. Properly understood, it is not exclusionary. It does not ask Canadians to share ancestry, religion, or ethnicity. It asks them to share a commitment to the institutions, laws, history, and responsibilities of a democratic state. It offers a basis for unity that is open to all, but it also insists that a nation is more than a random population attached to a government. That is precisely what Trudeau-era politics struggled to say. Multiculturalism was too often discussed as an end rather than as something that must operate within a wider civic order. Newcomers were welcomed, as they should be, but the language of integration was often neglected because it sounded too assertive, too old-fashioned, or too demanding. Yet without integration, pluralism hardens into parallelism. People live beside one another, not with one another. A country can absorb diversity only if it also possesses enough confidence to ask for common civic participation in return. The same problem exists in our institutions. Media, cultural agencies, universities, and public bodies all help shape how Canada understands itself. When they appear more interested in policing language than transmitting civic confidence, they lose legitimacy. When they reflect only one moral vocabulary or one segment of the country, citizens stop seeing them as national institutions and begin seeing them as instruments of a class outlook. That is how trust collapses. A conservative response should not be to seize those institutions or bully them into conformity. It should be to restore standards of broad accountability, pluralism, and national purpose. Institutions should help sustain citizenship, not dissolve it. Canada also needs to recover the language of duty. A common identity is not sustained by slogans, hashtags, or state messaging. It is sustained by work, family, service, local responsibility, military readiness, economic competence, and the habits of self-government. People become attached to a country when they are asked to build it, defend it, and contribute to it. The choice before Canada is not between diversity and cohesion. A serious country requires both. But cohesion does not happen automatically, and it certainly does not emerge from identity management. It comes from a confident civic culture that knows what it is, what it expects, and what it is trying to preserve. Canada needs less performance and more nationhood. Until it recovers that, the crisis of identity will remain a crisis of confidence.